Hello and welcome to your morning yoga flow. My name's Maria and today I will be guiding you through a quick, short yoga flow for strength. This is going to be working our legs, a little bit of our core, and a little bit of our arms, so full body yoga flow for strength. We won't need any props today, but this is your practice, so if you feel you need any, go ahead and bring them onto the mat. We'll go ahead and start at the top of our mat, just standing. Mountain pose, feet hip width apart or feet together. Ground down through all four corners of the feet. Spread the toes wide. Lift the knees and rotate your inner thighs towards one another. Roll the shoulders up, around, and back. Keep the belly soft. Maybe keep a little bend in the knees. Start to breathe into your low belly. We'll inhale to lift the arms up above overhead, holding a big beach ball. And then exhale to bend your knees and fold over your thighs, bend at your hips, forward fold. Let your head relax, let the crown of your head relax towards the earth, pressing down through all four corners of your feet here. Option to grab opposite elbows for ragdoll, maybe swing a little bit from side to side, but again, keeping that movement small. Plant the hands in front of your feet and then step your left foot back to the back of the mat. And then move your right foot around so that your right knee is directly above your right ankle. Coming onto the fingertips here, try to drop your hips as much as you can, but keep lifted through that back knee. We're going to pivot on that back foot so that the left toes face the left side of your mat and your heel faces towards the right side of your mat. Keeping your right knee bent here, we're going to circle our left arm up, around, and back to help lift our torso up. Find your footing here, so move your right foot towards the center of the mat and make sure that your left back arch is intersecting with your front right heel. So if we were to bring our feet closer together, they would make a T almost. Bring the arms out to either side, opening up to a big T. Look past your front fingertips, pull the pinkies back, opening up through your chest, and then make sure that your heart is stacked over your pelvis and your head is stacked over your heart. So we're not leaning forward. Bring your torso back in space so it's directly over your center of your body. And then straighten out through that right knee. Inhale, arms up above overhead. We're going to move our front toes to face the front of your mat, so wherever you're facing, the long side of your mat. And then turn your left toes to face the back of your mat this time. We're coming into a warrior pose on the other side. Bend into that left knee directly above your left ankle. The goal here is to eventually bring your thigh parallel to the floor, but for now it could be at a 45-degree angle or whatever you need it to be. Back arch intersects the front left heel. So again, if your feet were to come closer together, you would be creating a T. And then lift your arms by your sides. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, tuck the chin and maybe pull the elbows back a little bit. Again, check where your body is in space. Make sure it's centered, heart over pelvis and head over your heart. And gaze over the front left fingertips. Gaze past the fingertips. Inhale to straighten out through that front leg, arms up above overhead. And this time, drop your hands down by your sides. We're going to forward fold here in a wide-legged forward fold. Bring your toes in just a little and your heels out just a little, making sure that the sides of your feet are parallel with the top and the front of the mat, or the sides of the mat in this scenario. Option to interlace your hands behind your low back, interlace your fingers, and then start to straighten out through the elbows. Start to bring your palms to touch. If that's not accessible to you, then place your hands on your hips as we move forward here, hinging at the hips, folding at the hips, and just coming to a halfway point for now. You can keep your hands back behind you or on your hips, or at this point, feel free to drop them onto the ground for a halfway lift. You can stay here or option to bend into it a little bit more. Fold forward, keeping a slight bend in the knees here to avoid hyperextending. Eventually, your elbows might touch the ground or your head might touch the ground, but for now, just relax the weight of your head, let gravity take over. Crown of the head reaches towards the earth. Inhale to halfway lift again if you came down, and then exhale to maybe fold a little deeper. Inhale, halfway lift, come onto the fingertips, and then heel toe your feet back in towards center. Good. Forward fold here. So keep your feet hip width apart or feet together. Lower belly, lower ribs drawing towards your upper thighs. And we'll slowly roll up, first straightening out through the knees, and then the hips, and then leaving the chin to come up last. From here, we'll move to the front of our mat. Returning to mountain pose. So feet hip width apart or feet together. Rotate the palms of your hands to face forward towards the front of the room, or option to rotate them out to either side of the room to open up through the chest a little bit more, and feel your shoulder blades touching back behind you. Inhale to lift the arms up above overhead, holding a big beach ball. And then exhale to bring the palms to touch, and then swan dive forward, folding over your legs, bending at the hips, forward fold. From here, bring your toes to touch, your big toes to touch, and send your heels apart, slightly apart, if this feels good. We're coming into chair pose, so if you're familiar with this, feel free to grab any foot positioning that you prefer. If you're a beginner, just follow along with me. So bring the big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, stack the knees on top of the ankles, and sit back into an imaginary chair with your hips, bringing your sits bones almost parallel with your knees. Inhale to sweep the arms up and then peel the chest away from the thigh bones. Inhale, chair pose, seated into an imaginary chair, knees directly over your ankles. Make sure you can still see your toes from here, or partly. And then exhale to fold back over your legs, forward fold. Start to bend the knees deeply here. And then bring your sits bones towards your heels. As you do that, option to heel toe your feet maybe a little bit wider or a little bit more together. Slowly coming in to a toe tuck. Option to lift your heels up off the floor, or you can stay with your feet flat on the ground. Coming onto your fingertips, your chest and your torso are flush up against your thighs. Inhale to reach the crown of the head up towards the sky, tuck the chin in just a little bit. And then exhale, option to drop your forehead towards your knees, stretching out through the back of the neck. Inhale. And exhale to come onto your knees, and then come onto your sits bones, coming into a seated position. You can scoot back on your mat just a little bit, uncross the legs, and bring the soles of the feet onto the ground. Bend your knees, 45-degree angle. Lift up through your chest, send the crown of the head up towards the sky. You can bring your hands onto the ground behind your hips or next to your hips. And we're coming into a beginner boat pose here. So you have the option to stay here, or option to come on to just your toes and lift your heels for an added challenge. If you're looking for more, lift one heel and then lift the other, coming into a boat pose variation. Wherever you are here, just make sure that you can breathe fully, creating length through the spine, breathing into your low belly. Option to extend the arms straight out in front of you. Squeeze your legs towards one another, lift up through the chest. Inhale, and exhale to release everything back down to the ground. We'll scoot the hips closer to your heels, and then slowly roll down onto your back, one vertebra at a time, as slow as you can. Good. From here, nestle your shoulder blades underneath your heart space. Extend your arms, reach your fingertips towards the front of the mat, and then bring your heels back just a little bit so that your fingertips graze your heels. Barely touches them. Bring your feet hip width apart directly in front of your sits bones. Plant your hands onto the ground beside you. We'll inhale to squeeze the glute, pull the abs up and in to help lift your hips up to the sky. Reach your chest up towards your chin and your chin up towards the sky from here. Option to interlace your fingers underneath your low back onto the ground. Or option to just stay with your arms by your sides, helping you push up. Use your glutes, use the strength in your glutes to squeeze and lift your hips up a little bit more. Inhale and exhale to slowly release your hips back onto the ground. We'll take one breath to relax and recover. And then on your next inhale, again, squeeze your glutes to lift your hips up towards the sky. Inhale. Chest pushes up and out. Bring your chest towards your chin, and then lift your chin up towards the sky just a little. Inhale and exhale to release your hips back down to the ground. From here, extend your legs out to either side of your mat, to either corner of your mat. Nestle your shoulder blades underneath your heart space once again, and then rotate your palms to face towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And that is it today, my friends. If you're feeling up for Savasana, feel free to pause the video right here and stay here for as long as you'd like, just returning to your natural breath and reaping all the benefits of today's practice. And if you have to run, that's okay too. When you're ready, from here, we're going to tuck both knees into your chest, rock a little from side to side, creating a gentle massage on your back. And then we'll rock onto one side. Push yourself up with your upper hand and then walk yourself up with your other one to just assist you in sitting back up. And then wherever you are, whether you're laying down or you wanted to sit back up, just close the eyes and take a moment here to appreciate your practice today, to thank yourself for coming onto your mat and taking the time for you. Thank you so much for joining me today, yogis. Sending love and light to all beings everywhere. I'll see you again tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.